All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all teachers and students of Bangsa Pudu Zone. We're happy today to share a short session on summary writing with some selected students and invited teachers. But first of all, I would like to thank Encik Subramaniam Krishna Sami from Unit Sumber Pendidikan dan Teknologi PPD Bangsa Pudu, and also his partner Encik Shahrul for making this happen. Do expect some technical glitches because this is our first doing our live streaming. Okay, but since it's already about 2:10. I'm not going to waste much more time, but let me just introduce Puan Gladys. Francis, I know all of you know who she is, right? Especially our zone Bangsa Pudu. So she's going to share some tips on how to tackle the summary sections of our 1119 SPM paper. Like, without further ado, let's call upon Puan Gladys.
Hi, everyone. A very good afternoon to all teachers and students. This is especially for you students. We are hoping that this session will help those of you who have difficulty with writing summary. And the purpose is to help you to get as much marks as possible for the summary paper. And now with MCO and so on, this is our way of helping you all and giving a little bit of support to your teachers as well. What I'm presenting or what I'm going to share with you may not be something that is entirely new. You probably have heard this or have done this with your teachers. Sometimes, as your teachers always tell me, students like to see someone new. They like to see a new face. So that is the reason why teachers like to call outsiders to come and give answering techniques, because seeing a new face and hearing a new voice, sometimes it sparks something in you all, and you sort of like understand things better. So for those of you who already know these techniques, it is a revision. For those of you who may learn something new from this, we are very happy if you can learn something new from what I have to share. But what is important here is the fact that whatever that is shared has to be practiced, because what I'm going to share is just one passage, and I'm going to focus particularly on the summary element of it. So anything to do with language has to be practiced. It is not something that today you do, tomorrow you can get full marks. And the type of summary that I'm going to do with you all today is a narrative summary. So when it is a narrative summary, the techniques are a bit more difficult. It's a bit more difficult to do a narrative summary compared to one which is a factual essay or something that is reflective, because you don't have to do that many changes. It is about identifying main ideas. Okay, so today our session is just to touch on the a summary, on how to write a summary which is like a story. And in order to ensure that what I'm sharing today is something that is really applicable to SPM. Of course, there are lots of books out there, but they are not actual SPM questions. To ensure that you really get a feel of how it is to answer an SPM question, I have chosen a 2018 SPM question. And we are going to try to do summary of the passage which appeared in 2018. I have already shared with the teachers this passage, and I think many of you already have the passage. Okay, so if you don't have the passage, you can quickly Google and find it, or I think your teachers would have shared with you all, or you can ask your teachers now. Okay, so let me now start presenting what I have. We have about 347 of you here. Somewhere during the middle of my session, I will share a slide with a link for your attendance, as well as teachers for your attendance as well for our session. But it will only be given during the link and during the session. And I will give you a few minutes to complete the link, and after that, the link will be removed. This is specially for Bangsa Pudu, so that's the reason why I will not keep the link long for everyone to complete it. Okay, now without wasting much time, I would like to start my session. It's not going to be very long because what I'm covering is basically very little. Okay, so let me start. Okay, SPM Answering Techniques, and this comes from the English language unit of PPD Bangsa Pudu, where Puan Noraini and I work together for this session and for all sessions to do with English. And our first session is on summary writing, as I mentioned. Now, you will find that some of my slides have BM is in BM as well. There are words in BM as well. This is just to help some of you who may be struggling with the language to understand certain aspects. Now, the total marks or score for summary is 15, content is 10, and language is 5. Now, when content is 10, you will have to have at least 10 points from the passage. But what usually happens is there are more than 10 points. Sometimes there are even 12 points. There are even 13 points. Okay. So what you have to try and find is at least 10. So, but if you can find more, it is fine. But then you will have to look at the number of words, which you know it's 130 words. You are not supposed to write anything beyond 130 words. If you do write, then it is not going to be evaluated. It will not be marked, and the examiners will just draw, put a stroke after the 130th word, and they will proceed. Now, for language, you get 5. Okay. Now, where language is concerned, just by making, lifting intelligently and writing in a proper English, you will get 3 marks. So in order to get 3 marks, you just have to do that. So it's not something that is very difficult. Okay. So I would like to tell you all to be confident about your summary writing. And I'm going to show you all how this can be done. Okay. So now, first of all, at this point where, you know, with MCO and the disruption of classes, you have to work online. I feel so sorry for you SPM students, and I feel really feel for the teachers as well, who have been working all this time and hoping that you all will do well for your SPM. And now suddenly we go into again another session where we have to do online session. But I'm very sure that all of you are working very hard. Okay. But at this point of time where SPM is not too far away, you have to know yourself as a student. Okay, where do you stand at this point of time as a student, where your English language is concerned for your paper? Because unlike other subjects where you can jump, I mean, with a lot of practice, you can actually do very well. For language, you have to be realistic, because when it comes to writing and so on, definitely you can improve. Definitely you can improve. But you have to know the type of questions you have to choose. You have to know what you can do and what you cannot do. You have to know what your limits are. And once you know this, it will help you to score for your SPM. It will help you to pass, to get a credit. Okay. Now, my session today is for those whose current score for summary is less than 8, or it's probably 9. So you can find content points, about 6 content points, and language you get 2 or 3. Okay, so this is the maximum you get. So this session is for those of you who are getting the score, and the purpose is, okay, the objective of the session is to help you to go at least to 10 points and get 3 points for your language, or even a 9 or a 3, which makes it a 12. That will make a whole lot of difference in you passing your SPM paper. Okay, so now we go on to the first thing. Okay, you know that in your question paper, they for summary, it is always said you have to choose between certain lines. And now for this question, it says here line 5 to line 31. Okay, so it is important for you to know, which is a line and which is a paragraph, because there are numbers on 2 sides. On the left hand side are numbers for paragraphs. So please don't get yourself confused with that. These are all paragraph numbers, and these are the numbers for your lines. These are the numbers for your lines. So when it is said 5 to 31, okay, line 5 to 31, you only look at the numbers on the right hand side. Okay, so these are the numbers. And the first, now let me come to the so-called technique. I know this word sounds very alien to you all. I've called it. I've got two parts to it. The first one is Bokino. Okay, let's think of the word Bokino. Remember it as Bokino. What is Bokino? Okay, and then the other one is Roched et co. Even I'm finding it difficult to pronounce it. Richo et co. Okay, this is just an acronym. You can create your own. Okay, you can create your own, but I have created this not for you to memorize it or what, but this is a technique I'm sharing. And even when during my university days, my friends and I, we used to come up with acronyms like this to help us remember things. Because during exams, sometimes you panic, and even if it's language, you need certain techniques to help you. Okay, so what is Bokino? First is to box it. Okay, BO is box it. Key is identify keywords in the question. This is number, so number the sentences. RE is actually read the sentences. CHO is choose the sentences. Delete the ones not needed. Add is edit the chosen sentences. And finally is CO, count the number of words. Okay, now first one, bow. Step one, box it. Okay, you draw the section that you need to summarize. It's very, very important you do this. Okay, I have done the box for you. You draw the box. Ignore everything that is above it or that is below it. Just focus on this section only. Okay, by boxing it or by drawing lines, you may not draw a box, you may draw your lines, you may highlight. That's entirely up to you. But what you should do at this point is to know which portion you are working at. Okay, which portion you are working at, because you don't want to take anything that is not needed. So this is the box part of it. Now, next is key. Bokino. Okay, key. Step 2 is identify keywords. Okay, now where do the keywords come from? The keywords actually come from the question itself, where it says what you are supposed to look for. Okay, so that is identifying the keywords. So the question is usually like this. Okay, based on the passage, write a summary on. Usually there are two parts, but of course before 2018, questions in 2016 and so on, there have only been one part. But it doesn't matter whether it's one or two parts, but you have to ensure what are the keywords, because then you know what are the points which you need to look for. Okay, so this is identify the keywords. For the question we are looking at, what Sarah did to become one of the best female surfers in Malaysia and the challenges Sarah and other surfers experience. Okay, so here you have two parts to the question. You have two parts to the question, and it is important for you to address both parts of the question. So what Sarah did here is a verb, so it is an action. What were the actions she did? So you must look for verbs. You must look for what she did and what she did to become the best female surfer in Malaysia. And finally, you also look, the next part you look for is challenges Sarah and other surfers experience. That means we are talking about the challenges that the surfers experienced. Okay, challenges. What are the challenges they experienced? Okay. Now we go on to the third part, which is no. Bokino. Bo was to box it. Key was to look at the keywords wanted in the question. And no here is actually to number. No, number the sentences. Now, all you have to do, okay, all you have to do is look at each of the sentences from the beginning to the end, and you need to number it. I have shown you example here. She grew up watching her father, a pioneer of the Malaysian surf scene, some some 15 years ago serving with his peers. Okay, serving with his peers. So from the beginning of the sentence to the end of the sentence. So you have to know that is sentence 1. And then you have sentence 2 and sentence 3. It is important you number and you know where the sentence begins and where it ends. Because when I used to mark, what I noticed is that sometimes when the students don't take the entire sentence, they tend to take only part of a sentence. And when they take only a certain part of a sentence, then what happens is that the meaning is not complete. And when the meaning is not complete, then you do not get marks for the content. So what you need to do is number all the sentences in the box. Okay, now I have already done that, and there are 23 sentences altogether. Okay, make sure you number all the sentences. Okay, so there are 23 sentences altogether. Okay, now I will go on to the next part. Okay, if you have any questions, you may write the questions in the chat box, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to continuously explain. And then if there are questions, you can always put it in the chat box. For my colleague will help me to address the questions. Okay, so we have finished with Bokino. Okay, the next part of my acronym, RECHO at co. Okay, first RE is to read the sentences one by one and choose the ones needed. Okay, you can use different colors. You may use one color for what Sarah did, another color you may use for the challenges Sarah and her friends faced. So you can use 2 different colors. Okay, and you may cross out the sentences that are not needed. Okay, all this happens only in the box. Now, if you don't want to use a highlighter, you can use your colored pen, or you can even color the numbers to show which is what Sarah did and which are challenges that Sarah's faced. That means the sentences that show the challenges. That is up to you, what you are familiar with and what you find easy. Okay, but why am I saying that you need to identify the challenges as well as what Sarah did? This is to ensure that you don't leave out one part of the question, because the question has 2 parts. Okay, let's go on. Now, at this point, you may say, hello, how do I choose the sentences? Okay, there are 23 sentences and they are definitely more than 130 words. Okay, I've come to this part of the attendance part, because I'll stop here for a little while. Okay, those of you who are students, please use this link that is given and fill in your attendance. I give you a few minutes. After this, I'm going to go on to the teachers. Okay? Okay, I'm giving you a few minutes for you all to actually fill in your attendance. Okay. Okay, now I go on to for teachers as well, the link for the teachers as well. Okay, this is the link for the teachers who are here. This is the link for the teachers who are here. You can fill in this link for your attendance. Now, for those of you who did not get it, no worries. I will ask my colleague to post it in the chat box, okay, to put it in the chat box for the students and the teachers as well, okay? But just stopping here for a while to see whether everything is okay, because many of you know we are doing it for the first time, so taking a breather for a while, okay? Okay, now we go on to the, we continue, okay, we continue to the next part. Okay, now identifying the keywords. As I mentioned earlier, you need to know what the keywords are, and based on the keywords, you decide what are the sentences that can be accepted and which are the sentences that cannot be accepted. Okay, so it says what Sarah did to become one of the best female surfers in Malaysia and the challenges Sarah and the other surfers experience, right? So these are the sentences you would have identified. Now, this kind of, I have put it in a table. Of course, during exam, you cannot be doing this. But what you can do is that in the passage itself, when you number, you have the numbers for the sentences. Okay, so number 1 will be she grew up watching her father, and then number 2 will be it was not long before she had to go serving herself and so on. Okay, and I have just put this 21 and all for me to count what the, how many words there are and so on. So this kind of table is actually, if you are practicing, and for teachers who are watching, perhaps if such a table can be done in class for them, for those who are practicing, it will probably be good. Or you can train them to actually write the numbers and then identify the sentences. So let's look at each sentence here. Now, I've color-coded Sarah did. Sarah did are the actions, right? So grew up watching. So this is an action. She was watching her father. So I'm taking this entire sentence. So I'll put a tick here, what Sarah did. Okay, it was not long before she had a go at surfing herself. So this is also what she did. She took up surfing herself. So Sarah did that. Okay, a great advocate for the sport he loved, Sarah's father was proud to see that she progressed quickly through all the learning stages. Progress is a verb and it is an action by Sarah. So these are the, even in the sentences, what you all can do is identify the actions of Sarah. Okay, progress, grew up, watching, and all that. And then you make a tick, are these sentences relevant? Okay, and then you decide, is it what Sarah did, or is it are they challenges that were faced by Sarah? And then you decide, is it necessary for me to take this sentence? If it doesn't fall into what Sarah did and it doesn't come under the challenges category, then you put a cross. So if you have the reading passage in the exam, you find that sentence is not relevant, just cross it out. If it is relevant, as I mentioned, you can use the colors to show that these are sentences which are relevant. Now, I am trying to do it without the simplest way possible here. Okay, now look at sentence 4. Sarah shares her father's passion for the sport. I really enjoy squash and swimming, but for me, there's nothing in the world like surfing, she says. Okay, surfing, she says. Okay, now here, she's saying that she really enjoys squash and swimming, but it is not about what Sarah did to become a successful surfer. So it is not really a point, because the question says what Sarah did and what are the challenges. So this will come under a cross. It is not what she did, neither does it come under challenges. Okay, now I have done 4 sentences. I give all of you 5 minutes to try the other sentences as well. Okay, now if those of you who don't have the text with you, what you can do is look at the screen. Okay, you read from the screen and you either decide whether the sentence is in Sarah did, or in what Sarah did, or was it challenges, or it is not needed. 5 to 12. I give you a few minutes to try that. Then I will change to the next slide because there are 23 sentences altogether. Okay, so now you all can try. I'll just pause for a while.
Hello. Wah, hadir udah baca tak punya message? Buat WhatsApp. Habis dia baca. Tak nak. Okay, tell me what you do. Slow down. Okay. More. Show on way. Show on way.
Okay, now I'm going to change to the next slide. Okay, so you can look at the remaining sentences. Okay, now let me look at this. Okay, let me look at this. Serving is not the easiest of sports, of course. Okay, not the easiest. Okay, so that is not what Sarah did, but it is actually a challenge. So this will come under a challenge that Sarah and her friends faced. Okay, because it is not the easiest of course. So that comes under challenges. Okay, then you go and you read on. You look at the others. I have highlighted some words here for you all, and so that you all can use these words to decide whether these are actions by Sarah or they are challenges, or whether they need to be crossed out. Okay, so I've explained one. Try the rest of the sentences. Okay, students, boys and girls, if you all have any problems with this, if you want to ask me any questions, please feel free to write in the chat box. Okay, so now if you have decided which are the sentences among the 23 sentences which you are going to strike off or cancel or delete, and which are the ones which come under what Sarah did and what are the challenges, if you have decided, I can go on to the next part. Okay, now basically these are the ones that I chose. Okay, basically these are the ones that I chose. You could do like this, where you choose the sentences, what Sarah did. Okay, I did not put the cross there, but those I did not choose, it means that they are not my chosen sentences. And then here I have the challenges. Okay, now as you can see, I have chosen only 10 sentences. Okay, why have I chosen only 10 sentences? Because what I'm going to show you all is that, like as I mentioned, this session is for those of you who have been getting about 9 or 8 for your summary, right? So if there are too many sentences chosen, then what will happen is that you will need to shorten those sentences. And shortening of sentences is not something that is easy to do, because when you shorten sentences, you will end up losing some of the words and actions which are needed, which examiners look for to ensure that they give you the mark. Because when marking is done, examiners are given a list of keywords, words and phrases which must be in. Okay, and these keywords and phrases are not in, then the student, if you all will not get the marks for that. Okay, you are not going to get the marks for that. So it is very, very important that you don't take too many sentences. And we are not looking at full score here. Okay, we are not like really looking at full score, but of course if you can get 10 points and all your 10 points make within that range of 130, it is fantastic. Okay, but that is not really possible, in the sense that you definitely have to shorten sentences. Okay, so this is where I usually tell my students, you know yourself what you can do, what you can't do, and you pick the sentences and you use techniques which help you to get maximum score. Okay, now edit the sentences. Okay, edit the sentences. We have done reading and we have done the choosing. We come to add, that is, you edit the sentences. How do I edit the sentences? Now here I'm going to share some simple ways of editing the sentences. Okay, I'm going to share some simple ways of editing sentences. I've taken an example from this is sentence 8, which is, for a few years I even had intensive coaching from my dad. As you can see the inverted commas here, that shows this is direct speech. When you summarize, direct speech is a big no. Okay, no direct speech should be in your summary. Okay, I have written here, no direct speech is allowed. So remember that. Now, but if you have direct speech, and what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? For this sentence, for example, I have removed the inverted commas. So I removed the inverted commas and it becomes this. For a few years, I even had intensive coaching from my dad. Now, this is still not accepted. Okay, it is still not acceptable. Why? Because of the pronoun I. And you have here my as well, possessive pronoun my. Okay, I and my are not accepted in a summary. Okay, it has to be a third person. So you have to change this I to a she. You have to change this my to her dad. Okay, so if we have we, then it becomes they, and our becomes their. So you will have to make these changes if you see them in the passage, and you usually find such pronouns in, and also direct speech in a story. Okay, it usually comes out in the story. So this is the challenge that you have to you will encounter. But please don't give up in the sense that think, oh, if I don't change, then all gone, I'm not going to get any marks for my content. No, it doesn't happen that way. Examiners are not looking to make you fail. They will minus marks. Okay, they will minus marks. They will minus for the first point you didn't get the pronoun correct, or like that. It's not that they will give you 0 immediately. No, it doesn't happen that way. Okay, we try to help I won't say we because I'm not marking anymore. Examiners try to help students as much as possible. It's not like, you know, we are not on a hunt to make you fail. Huh? Okay. Now, after I've shown you two ways. One is to remove the inverted commas, and the other one is to change the pronouns. Now, the third one is to shorten the sentences. Okay, for this, I have taken another sentence, which is sentence 3. Now, why did I ask you all in the beginning to identify or the key words? Because the key words tell you what you are supposed to look out for. So now your summary is about Sarah. It is about what Sarah did, and it is about the challenges Sarah and her friends faced. So if you look at the keywords, if you remember that at all times, you will know that in sentence 3, here you have a great advocate for the sport he loved. Sarah's father was proud to see that she progressed quickly through all the learning stages. You will see here a great advocate for the sport he loved. This doesn't talk about Sarah. It talks about her father. Okay, so that is number 1. So you know that this part of the sentence is not, it's not needed. But this is a complete, you know, you have this entire sentence here. Now, what are you going to do? Now, how is it okay for me to remove this? Yes. How do I know which part to remove? One of the clues I can give you is the comma. Okay. And then if the comma is followed by a subject, that means the name of a person, then you can remove what is before that. But again, I have to tell you, it doesn't work for all for all sentences. This is where your practice has to come in. But I'm going to show you one simple way of making the sentence shorter. So you remove this entire section here. So this is Sarah's father was proud to see that she progressed quickly through all the learning stages. So this sentence has definitely been shortened. And it is a complete sentence. It does not distort the sentence. It does not change the meaning. It is still a complete sentence which is relevant for the summary writing. Now, let's say you are somebody who can shorten the sentence some more. You think you can shorten it even more. Very good. Okay, look at this sentence that you have shortened. Okay, the next part of the sentence which tells you about what Sarah did, again coming back to the keywords, which is what Sarah did. Okay, now Sarah did is an action. So in this sentence, what she did was progressed. Okay, what she did was progressed. Now, so she progressed quickly through all the learning stages. So you take only this part of the sentence. She progressed quickly through all the stages. So you have left this first part out and the sentence is still complete. Okay, so this is what I mean by drop unnecessary details. It needs practice, but as you can see, the question that we are discussing today is a SPM question. And as you can see, it is not that difficult to remove these sentences. Now, from the bookshops, when you when you buy these revision books, you find some of the the exercises, the passages in the revision books, they are so challenging and you feel that, oh, I can't do it. You know, it's so difficult. One way for you to practice is to actually take past year questions, because believe me, many of the revision books out there, the standard is really very high. So it makes you feel that you can't do it. Okay, but if you look at the past year exam papers, the passages are still manageable. They are still manageable. So don't give up. Be positive. You can still edit sentences. Okay, now I go on to another sentence, which is the first sentence, editing as well. She grew up watching her father a pioneer of Malaysian surf scene some 15 years ago, serving with his peers. Okay, now here also, okay, we know that grew up, we have already identified as the keyword. So she grew up watching a father. Now remember I mentioned about the comma. And as you can see, there are two commas here. So usually when there are two commas, it means that it is an addition. Okay, and this addition here, if you look at it, it does not describe her. It talks about a father. Okay, her father is the pioneer. So we don't need to know about the father because the keywords tell you that we want to know about Sarah and not her father. So your sentence becomes this: she grew up watching her father surfing with his friends. Okay, so your sentence has been shortened. So this is how you edit or you shorten the sentences. You remove the pronouns. You change the pronouns. Another method we talked about is removing the colons and making it indirect speech and not direct speech. Now, finally, we come to the last part, that is core, which is count the words. Okay, and start writing. Now, when you start writing, please don't forget the first line, which is the first 10 words of the line. And this is the first 10 words of your summary, which is Sarah's successful serving career began at an early age when. Now, this, you must start with this. After having done all that, please don't forget this part of it. Okay, so let's start. Now, here, this is our first sentence. Okay, this is the first sentence which we have lifted. She grew up watching her father, a pioneer of the Malaysian, this is the first sentence. Now, and this is the sentence they have given in the question paper. You are supposed to start your summary with this sentence. Just give me a second, my throat is dry. Okay, so at an early age when, it stops at when. Now, if you can see, I have taken this entire sentence and put it there. When she grew up watching her father, a pioneer, it can be combined like this. Okay, but sometimes you will find that it is not so easy to combine, but anyway, this one, as you can see, it fits in exactly there. Okay, so you have actually completed this. But of course, as we discussed earlier, this sentence can be shortened. So once you have completed the first sentence that has been given in the question paper, okay, then you go on adding the other sentences. Okay, so your completed summary will look like this. Now, what I actually did was I used only the 3 techniques I discussed with you all earlier, which is not having the direct speech. I changed the pronouns, okay, and I shortened the sentences using the comma technique. I just removed those chunks of sentences. Okay, and I picked exactly 10 points. So as you can see, there are 127 words here. Now, I have not changed any of the words. I have not added any of the words. A summary like this is the simplest way of writing the summary. A summary like this will get you 10 marks for your 10 points and 3 marks for your language. Okay, so you get 13 marks. Even if the examiner decides to give you 2 marks for your language, well, fine. Okay, you get 12 marks. Okay, and even if one of the points is not accepted, fine, you get 11 points. Okay, but it's definitely more than what you have been getting now. It is something for you to work at. Okay, so of course, it is possible for you to get a 13 using this method, and 13 out of 15. Now, if you want to get a 14 or a 15, there are certain things you must do. We are not going to go into that. Why? Because when I was teaching, I did not encourage students to paraphrase or to, I encouraged them to use, to make them into sentences into compound by using connectors and all that. But I didn't encourage them to paraphrase or change words and so on. Because sometimes when I was marking, I realized that students, when they did that, they lost their content point. Because when in the LPM, they look for certain words. And if those words are not there, then you are not going to get marks for the content. And secondly, sometimes when those words are changed, the meaning changes. So you lose marks for content. So just because you want to get that 1 or 2 marks for your language, you end up losing a lot of marks for your content. So that is the reason why I seldom encourage students to work towards getting a 5 for the language. Okay, so very easily here we have 127 words. Of course, the maximum is 130. Now, I've come to some frequently asked questions. Do I need to include sequence connectors? It is not really necessary if it is not a sequence of events. Okay, that means we are not talking about one event after another. First this happened, then next happened, then it's not necessary. And even then, even so, if you are not confident, you feel you will put it wrongly or something, never mind, just leave it out. Okay. And the next one, do I need to combine sentences using conjunctions, for example, and but so and all that? Do I need to know that? Only if you can do it without making mistakes. Okay, if you feel that you don't know how to join the sentences and where am I supposed to join, where am I supposed to put the and but, and sometimes exam time, of course not sometimes, exam is a stressful situation, and if you feel that you are not very confident, you're not very sure, you don't have to. Because if you put that and you're going to make mistakes, then you may lose your marks for language, you may lose marks for content. So let's try and make it simple. Summary, it is possible for you to score if you just make it simple and do it the simple way. Okay, and finally, do the examiners really count the words? Yes, they do. They count and they will put a slash, and after the 130th word, they are not going to read. So don't try and, if let's say you finish and you have written 34 words, and then you bluff and put 130, oh, they are not going to read. No, please, and they do read. Okay, and they do read. So please do write the correct number. But let's say you have written 134 and you really can't find, you don't really know how to shorten it. Please don't spend your time trying to figure out how to remove the 4 words. Let's not be so kiasu for that 1 mark. Just leave it and go on to do the other sections. You can always earn your marks in the other sections. Don't be caught up with that summary, that 4 words. Oh, I must get the 4 words. How am I going to get the 4 words? Don't be so caught up with that. Okay, just leave it and go on to the next section. Okay. Okay, that's about summary writing from me. And to all of you students out there, I know you are going through a really difficult time having to learn during online, and and you are so worried about your exams and so on. Let's hope for the best. The first thing you have to do now is to stay safe and be healthy. Please follow all the SOP and follow your online classes with your teachers. And what I would like to add here is that please practice. This is just one question. Okay, this is just one question. What you can do is that you can actually, first thing to do is that you can try this question on your own. And teachers, maybe you can ask them to write out the summary using the techniques I discussed just now, and they can try and write it out. Then what you can do next is that maybe try 1 or 2 more summaries which are a story like this. Okay, so teachers, maybe you can help them with that. Then after that, you can try the other kinds of summaries, which are the factual summaries, and see how it works. Okay, I'm positive that you will be able to write better summary using this technique, and I really hope that this session was helpful. So good luck in your exams. And thank you for joining this session, or taking the time to join. Thank you, teachers, as well, for ensuring that your students join this session.
Can I? Can I?
Wait, you're not saying anything. I thought you want to say something. Super. I have finished.